up, everybody? Paul Glasgow here, Legally on America. This is our live stream on Friday night. As always, let me get a little bit more flag in here. As always, guys, we're going to wait a couple of minutes. I'm trying out a different microphone setting tonight. If you guys would, let me know if it works. I'm changing the sound up a little bit. I have a kind of cool-looking little microphone that I'm testing out for some future stuff that I'm going to do. And we'll see if it works tonight. So if you guys would, just let me know how it's working. All right. A couple of you guys rolling up in here. Get this sound turned down a bit. Let's see. I'm wondering if this thing's there. We go. I see a couple of people trickling in here. I'm wondering if it's working because usually whenever we start this thing, we get a pretty good pile of people all at once. I see everyone's coming here now, so that's cool. I've got to figure out how to make my text on my clothes, and well, not just on my clothes, my text. It's reversed, and I got to figure out how to make that right. I don't understand what the deal is. It's a setting that we have somewhere in there for YouTube, and I used to not do this. I don't know why it does it now. First of all, okay, volume is very low. All right, let me see what I can do. Let me fix this. Let me see if I can fix this. Let me see if I boot you guys out of here. If I boot you guys out, I'll come right back. Let's see here. Still in there? Mic's okay now? The gain was almost all the way down, so it should be okay now. So if you guys could kind of give me... All right, good. Is it okay? I'm only halfway up on the gain. I just don't want to make it go crazy, to where it's pegging you guys out and your wives get pissed off at you or whatever and make you stop drinking your beer and watching. So, okay, cool. We're good. Let's roll. One thing I want to talk about real quick, and I kept my phone here because I want to pull it up. Man, I saw a, don't trust. I saw a post this week that really blew my mind, and I wanted to share it with everybody. Oh gosh, where is it? Where is that post? Here we go. I saw this Sunday. This was in the HK VP group on Facebook. I'm in a bunch of those groups on there. This dude comments, and I quote, "Last night I was showing my friends my firearms when one of them fired a round into my wall of my apartment. Thank God no one was hurt, but the police responded and seized all of my firearms. Has anyone had a similar experience and know the repercussions for this?" Man, that saddens me to see something like that. What an idiot. What a freaking idiot. I mean, we responsible firearm users work our butts off on a regular basis, trying to convince people in the middle, people on the fence, that we are responsible, law-abiding gun owners. I know it doesn't matter. I know that people who have formed an opinion about us have formed an opinion about us. I'm talking about the guys in the middle. The people on the left, I'm not really worried about that. Now, they will use instances like this as fuel to try to take our guns from us. But they're going to try to do that anyway. They're just looking for another nugget that they can use. I'm talking about the people on the fence, maybe young people who are growing up. Who do we have handling guns out there? I know we've all seen clowns at the range doing things unsafe and things like that, but come on, man. I mean, really. That is so frustrating to me because if you take the time, if you're going to put yourself out there into the gun community and become a gun owner, You owe it to yourself, not to me. You do owe it to me indirectly, but you owe it to yourself and your family to do everything you can to be as safe as you possibly can, so that you're not endangering anyone's life with that. Because while guns may not be built and manufactured to kill, as the left says, they can. So why would you not? Why would you not at least look into it if you don't know the three? I say three. There's technically four gun safety rules. If you don't know the most basic, fundamental rules of gun safety, finger off the trigger, don't point anything unless you're willing to destroy it, and treat every gun as if it's loaded. And there's a fourth one that's kind of floating around. I forget what it is. Be aware of what's behind your target. That's what it is. If you don't know those fundamental rules of gun safety, somebody should be teaching you that. It's not hard to find those rules. If I'm a new gun owner and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to be conscious of to be as safe as I possibly can? Look, if you don't care about the people living in the apartment above, below, and on either side of you, okay, I get that, even though it's extremely rude and careless. What about your family? What if that would have been his kid playing on the floor and somebody put a bullet through their kid's head? I mean, seriously, it's a life-changing moment just because you were too lazy to do a quick Google search to figure out how to make yourself more safe and to be more proficient with safety around your family. Is it that hard? I mean, is it that difficult to train yourself? If you're too proud, like most guys are, if you're too proud to ask somebody about gun safety, look, when you go into the bathroom and you get in your little quiet space on the toilet, Google gun safety rules, how to be safe with my gun. There's tons of things you can do to make yourself safer. Why don't you do that? How do you hand a loaded firearm to somebody else? When we say treat every gun as if it's loaded, you know what? We have to do that. What I mean by that is, if I'm handing my gun to Billy, who is not a gun owner, but he wants to see my gun, Billy wants to see my gun. I don't just go, hey, Billy, you want to see this? Here you go. That's not how you do it. It's, here you go, Billy. In fact, it's not even that. It's here you go, Billy. You hand this to somebody so they can see that it's not loaded. And then you know what their responsibility is at that point? You and I probably do it all the time. We still take the gun, look in the chamber, and do like that before we start looking at the firearm. And still, you don't muzzle flash yourself. Muzzle flashing is one of those things that even when I know a gun is not empty, it doesn't feel right. If you ask me right now to look down my barrel of my gun, yeah, I might accidentally, I say accidentally, I may put my gun in front of the muzzle when I know that it's unloaded, as I've done, every time here. It still doesn't feel comfortable. I mean, seriously, guys, how comfortable do y'all feel when you see somebody with a gun that they've just taken out of the box, put it together, if it's a gun that needs some assembling, like a shotgun or something like that? Are you comfortable if they aim the muzzle right at you, right at your face? It's like whoa, whoa. Do you have to do that? Aim that somewhere else. It's not comfortable. It's just a natural thing. We all feel that way. I'm very uncomfortable with somebody muzzle flashing me. Even whenever I know it's not empty, I'm like, whoa, man, come on. It's not cool. Stuff happens. Weird stuff happens, So for some fool to just take a loaded gun, a gun that has the appearance of being loaded, a magazine inserted in it, how do you do that? How do you say, here you go, and then the guy's like, whoa, that's nice, pow, sends a round through the wall? Unbelievably careless. We talk all the time, everybody should own a gun. No, I know we say that. We don't mean that. Everybody should not own a gun. If people are too stupid and too lazy to Google search for the three fundamental rules of gun safety, man, those people should not be owning guns. I'm not comfortable with them owning guns. What if I'm the person in the apartment next door? What if my grown kid is living next to them and sends around. They send around through the wall and hit my grown kid or my grandkid. If I had a grandkid, unbelievable, unbelievable, man. And then this idiot has the nerve. I'm not going to share his name or anything, but has the nerve to post it on an open group, asking people for information, for advice. You know what's going to happen? Okay, if he's had his guns confiscated from him, unless he's just going to give up and walk away, there's going to be a court battle. Now, this is in Massachusetts, by the way. Yeah, Massachusetts. Imagine the trouble this guy's in Massachusetts. So even if if he just walks away from it, he's good to go. But if there's a court battle, you can bet the prosecutors, especially in those liberal communities up there, they have screenshots of his Facebook, all the things that he's done. He's sitting here admitting what he did on an open group on Facebook, that exactly what I read to you. What was it again? Let's see. Last night I was showing my friends my firearms when one of them fired a round into my wall of my apartment. Thank God no one was hurt, but the police responded and seized all of my firearms. Has anyone had a similar experience and know the repercussions for this? In fact, I just took a screenshot of this. Yeah, one of the first comments was, honestly, I would take this post down because it is going to be used against you, especially in Massachusetts. And the next comment, which I only have two, why did you give somebody a loaded gun? I mean, as a majority, us gun owners are very, very safe people, responsible people, almost to a point of being anal about it, almost to a point where, you know, I have videos that I put out there, and, you know, if I'm sitting here, again, with an unloaded gun, one that I know that's unloaded, and if I'm sitting here talking about the muzzle, let's say like this one has a slight crown to it. If I'm talking about the muzzle and I put my finger like this in front of it to show people, even though my hand is not on the trigger and I've just proven that the gun is unloaded, if I'm doing like this and I have my finger in front of it, now I'm still not comfortable putting my head in front of it. But if I do like this, man, I've got people just like giving me the business, man, on YouTube. Man, I can't believe you put every time you put your finger in front of that muzzle, I cringed. Well, I didn't, because I knew it wasn't loaded. In fact, whenever I film, if I'm going to be touching and handling a gun up close, other than shooting it down range, I don't have people on the set with me, and I handle all the guns. I unload all of my guns from my vehicle, I check them all, and when they go back in the vehicle, I load them all up. Because I'm paranoid about that. I mean, if I got people with me, people don't do things the same way. Let me tell you a scenario I had one time. The closest thing that I have ever had to a near miss was here in this room. I built this room, I don't know, a year or so ago, a little over a year and a half ago. And I have a spot over here on my wall that I have a bunch of pistols, probably about 40 or 50 pistols, all on the wall, mostly 1911s. And I took them all from downstairs after I built this room, and many of them had loaded magazines in them, because the room that I had downstairs was my office that only I had a key to, and these things were all put up top, like above some shelves. So they were all kind of like a carry gun, either a carry gun or a home protection gun, and they stayed loaded because the whole room stayed locked up. Well, my fear when I got in here, because it was more of a studio and a workshop atmosphere, even though this is basically one big gun, like a big gun safe. I mean, the steel panels on the wall, the 3/4 inch sheet, 3/4 inch plywood, all the stuff that I have in here, the metal in the walls, everything that I've got, this is a gun safe essentially. But I'm not worried about what happens about people breaking in here, because no one's going to. I'm more worried about me working on things. See, in my office downstairs, I didn't work on guns. I didn't break them down. I didn't clean them. Didn't do anything like that in there. So when a gun was in there, it was never, you never chambered around, you never checked the cycle, you never cycled the action, anything like that. Up here it happens all the time. So I've got two red bins over there that if somebody comes in here with a loaded firearm, they take the magazine out. They will take the mag out, put their loaded magazine, discard the round that was in there, and it goes in there until they leave, unless it's concealed carry and it's just on their side. So when I came in here, I took all these guns, and each one of them I took the magazine out of them. Some of them had empty magazines still in them. This is my fault now. I had one of my 1911s that I think it might have been one of the last ones I brought in here. And this is a perfect example of getting sidetracked. Apparently I was on a phone or just got a phone call or something like that, and I was doing something, and I put one gun, just one, up there that had a full magazine in it, and never noticed it. It was a 45 caliber. A buddy of mine comes over here. He's checking out my wall, and that particular 1911 had some really cool aluminum grips that had holes in them. Really cool looking vintage look. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. And he took the gun, and it had a magazine in it. And I should have caught this when he did it. He pulls it back, and he chambers around in it. And I saw him do it. But the guy chambered around. And, you know, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it because I'm thinking to myself, okay, first of all, I don't think I even noticed it had a magazine in it, because a lot of these guns don't even have magazines, because if they had loaded magazines in them, in most cases, I just took the magazines out and I threw them in that red bin. So a lot of these guns are sitting up there on the wall with no magazine in them at all. So I guess I either assumed it didn't have a magazine or whatever. Didn't think anything of it. So again, it's a 1911. So it's sitting there with a magazine in it. It's got a magazine in it, and it is hammer cocked back, just like that. So it's sitting on my shelf like that. And after he charged the slide, which again I don't know why he even did that, but after he charged the slide, he was looking. Thank God he never pulled the trigger, because he was just looking like this. He sets it back. It's like if I would set it right back up here. I'm over here probably a week later in my shop in here in the gun room, and I just look at that one, and I notice it's sitting on the rack. It's sitting like this. It's a different type of rack than this one. It's one facing forward. And I notice the hammer back, and whenever I pull the gun out, guys, I almost just, I don't even feel comfortable doing it now. I almost just went like this to put the hammer down, because I don't leave my guns with the hammer back on a shelf. You have no idea the weird feeling I had whenever, before pulling the trigger, I looked in the chamber. Not only saw a 45 caliber round seated in the chamber, but I see a whole slew of other ones in the magazine ready to come back up into the chamber also. Freaked me out, because I know when somebody muzzles me with their gun. So my friend didn't muzzle me. I can tell you comfortably that he didn't. But a round would have gone through my wall. And where he was pointing it at, no one was there. Nobody would have been hurt. Honestly, it probably would have hit one of these gun panels and ricocheted in my room, to be honest with you, because these are some pretty good, some hardy steel panels with powder coating on them. Very possible that round could have bounced around in here a little bit, depending on the angle that he shot it at. Or worse, whenever I was up here, I don't remember what angle I had the gun, but I almost, guys, I was this close to just going like that and lowering that hammer by pulling the trigger. Freaked me out, man. I went through every single gun in here at that point, took everything out. I said, I got to know, because now I wasn't comfortable that everything was clear in here. And everything else was clear. That was the only gun. And that just so happened to be the only one he picked up. How crazy is that? So things happen. I'm not talking about accidents happen. I'm talking about neglect. That was neglect on my part. I could have got somebody hurt or killed because I didn't check that one weapon. One weapon out of all of them. That's not an accident. That's negligence on my part. You know, you hear guys all the time, oh, that's, accidents happen. No, accidents don't happen. People screw up, and that's what happens when people screw up. They do things like that, and I screwed up, and I could have got somebody hurt. You imagine this thing hadn't been built for a whole month, and already I'm going to have a negligent discharge inside here. Never had one in my life. So my thing is about this guy in Massachusetts, man, come on. I wish him the best because he is a fellow gun owner. But man, he doesn't represent us. He just doesn't. I mean, you have a long way to go. If you're going to take that kind of responsibility on, man, you got to be responsible. You got to walk the talk, man. You can't just sit here and talk about it. There's no way. What if that guy would have, y'all seen the video, YouTube video, Facebook video, whatever it is, of the two assholes that are, excuse my French there, don't ban me, moderators, of the two guys at the damn gun range that are posing, like taking selfies with their guns, and one of them puts the gun to the other guy's head, like to take a picture, does like this, right to the guy's head. And of course the range officer snatches the gun out of his hand and kicks the guys out. Thank God he did. That's the kind of stuff, man, we don't need that. Come on, man, there's a responsibility that comes with this. Be a grown-up. That's unforgivable to me. Totally unforgivable. I don't care who they were, how new of a gun owner or how old of a gun owner they were. If they could put themselves in that kind of a position to not appreciate a loaded weapon that they had in their possession and put it at each other's head, I'm sure they even said something stupid like either it's not loaded, or they probably said, I wasn't going to pull the trigger. You know what I mean? You know that's what they said. I would have kicked them out and banned them for life. I would have put a picture of the video, a still shot of the one jerk pointing the gun at the other guy's head and said, this will get you kicked out and banned for life. I would have put that in the damn showroom. Unbelievable. Unbelievably unsafe. That's the quickest way to get a good, nice gun range shut down. You get somebody shot or killed, that place is going to get shut down. Just from a legal standpoint. It's going to get tied up in all kind of litigation in the courts and all that. They're going to bankrupt the person owning the place just from having attorney's fees and all that. They're going to go out of business. That's the quickest way to get your local, your favorite gun range shut down, is to do something stupid like that. I want to talk about a video that we're going to be doing very soon. Very cool video I'm excited about. Let's see if I can pull up all of the guns that are going to be in it. We just put out a couple of cool new videos. Let's see our, what is it, the 40 caliber video that we just put out. That's a pretty cool video. I really like that one. That was fun to do. Rock Island Armory's 22 TCM and 9mm conversion kit. That was a cool video also that we put out here recently. Dang, I can't find my page that I wanted. I wanted to talk about the MHS program pistols, modular handgun system. That's the military's attempt to get a new pistol. I'm going to be doing a video very soon on the, actually I guess it'll end up being 7 pistols. I want to say the 8 pistols that made it close to the finish line. M9A3, of course. That's the Beretta version. One of the Berettas. Beretta actually sent in a second version after this one got DQ'd. I think the military saw this and was like, man, that's cool. We don't want another M9. That's not what we're looking for. So they canned this one. This is a fine little gun. I was not a big fan of the M9. I've got one. It's okay. But this one here is nice, man. There's some cool bells and whistles on this thing. It's extremely modernized. They did a lot to this thing to fix it up, make it nice. Plus, the little case it comes with is pretty cool. Little gun case here. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's got your stuff in there, your additional 2 magazines right here. The pistol fits right down inside here. Like that. Closes up. Latches like that. It's pretty cool. Neat little setup. The SIG, the winner, the P320. This guy here. One of the losers, the Glock 19X. This guy right here. Now these are, some of these are very, very close to what was entered into the contest. This is not, because it does not have the external safety. The SIG P320 does have the safety, and as you can see, it's ambidextrous. The M9 does also. Just been handling the FN 509 also. That's one of the guys right there. And I suppose that is all the ones that I have now. I will be getting in the, what are those other, what's that Beretta? That really weird Beretta that they've got. With the weird looking diamond plate looking things on the slide. What the heck was that model number? Where is that thing? Yeah, the Beretta APX. The APX. Okay, that's one of them. Let's see here. That guy right there. You can see it. These are the ones that I'm waiting on to get in. Move that mouse over there. I'm also waiting on the CZ-P09 MHS. I've got that one coming in black, if you can see it. That's a beautiful little gun right there. And where is that Sphinx at? This is essentially another CZ. The SDP Compact. That's pretty much, I mean, you could pretty much call that a CZ also. Sphinx is pretty much what that is. But yeah, all those guys, and of course I'll have the M&P from Smith & Wesson. The only thing we will not have is the STI Detonics STX. This was kind of a prototype pistol that STI made. Very unusual build right there. That was a strange gun. I'm pretty sure it's not in production. And let's see, that thing there was, these are all 9mm. That one, let's see, sights, tritium sights, striker fired. It was only STI gun that striker fired. But I've got some information on it. Extremely unusual gun. Here we go. Detonics Defense partnered with noted competition pistol maker STI to offer the STX. The STX was one of the few truly modular designs offered, and one of the only pistols with a completely metal chassis that accepts 4 different length barrel slide assemblies, as well as a full-size or compact grip. Detonics and STI designed the frame around the U.S. Army specs and grip geometries. The firing control kit is modular and striker fired, maintaining a single consistent trigger pull without being a true single action, as per the solicitation. However, the unit requires armor support for replacement. Wow. While the pistol had been considered, the STX was withdrawn from competition without explanation. They just got to a point where they said, you know what, we're just not going to stay in here. I imagine it probably was costing them some money, because you're dealing with a prototype here. There's no telling how many prototypes they had to give to the military to do this, because the military was beating these guns up. So they did a lot to them. So, you know, that's the only one I'm not going to have, one of the true competitors. There were other guns that were submitted, but, you know, I'm trying to take the top one. So I'll have like the top 7 that were out there, and we'll look them over, test them. I'll probably do an individual review on each one of them, and then combine them, compare them. I'm waiting on a, oh gosh, what are those things called? You guys are going to know as soon as I tell you. The something rack. That's the thing that you lock your pistol into. I feel stupid now that I don't know what it is. Now that I'm trying to tell y'all what it is, I can't think of it. I've got one ordered for like $500 for one. Let's see. Man. Somebody's going to say it. Somebody tell me what the heck I'm talking about. It's like a gun vise, but it's supposed to simulate everything from the ransom rest. There you go. I'm saying rack. That's what screwed me up. I'm saying rack. It's a ransom rest. A ransom rest. Ransom has a ransom rest. They have several different variants that they'll they'll lock in. They have different pistol grip configurations that will grip your pistol like it were a human hand, and it allows the weapon to recoil also. So it's not just locked in like this, where the slide just goes wham, wham, wham. It's, you know, it gives you a little bit of recoil. So I'm going to use that to shoot them with. We can also measure recoil with those too, because depending on how a gun fits in your hand, it may recoil differently as far as the muzzle flip. And by putting it in the ransom rest, I'll be able to have lines. Let's say like lines like this. See the line going right above the slide? So when it goes back, I can measure like how much it rose based on a series of lines that stack up like this. So this one might rise up one line, the next gun might rise up two lines. So I'll be able to show that. I'll be able to show, you know, how much, you know, play I have in those things. I'll also be able to test accuracy more accurately. Again, when you have a human involved, you run the risk this gun might not fit my hand properly. So I shoot it different, hold it different. The trigger pulls different, so I might react to it differently. The ransom rest takes all that out of it. So we have more of an opportunity to get a true representation of what each gun's functionality is based on what the ransom rest is showing. So as soon as I get that ransom rest in, I'll probably start the filming. I'm excited about it, but like I said, those things are like 500 bucks for one of them. So I had to order one, waiting for it to come in. Looking forward to it. That's going to be fun. So anyway, that's my next big video that I've got, man. That's going to be fun. So I'm very much excited about that. Okay. Let me check. I'm going to roll through here and look at some of y'all's comments. I did not do shout outs to all of our buddies out there, so I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to do that now. Let's see, Matthew Turner, Richard Portella, Jeff Fowler, Big Mo, Keith Gregory, Super Duper Paratrooper, Mr. F&H, Mark Rigsby, WB, the Archangel, let's see, Keith Gregory, I said that, Shaners, 79 SRQ, Ryan Westall, what's up? I think I said Jeff Fowler, Zach Briggs, Nathan D, Jerome Simmons, David L, Jason Fowden, Matthew Turner, I think I already said that, Willie Dick, let's see here, there's one, where was it, Lauren Petty, Joe San, Mike C, Brian Fisher, Jarrett's in here, Jay Griff, Joint Man, Leaf Man from Detroit, Shark Chucker, Keith Gregory, I may have said your name already. Good to see you. Keith asks, how's the weather down here? Man, look, we're still borderline in the summer. Today it got up to 85 degrees, but I think if I had to guess, I'd say that's it for the hot weather. I think tomorrow we got something else coming through here. So hopefully we're going to get into where our highs are only around 80. If we could just get our damn nights to be in the 60s or 50s, I'd be happy. 50s, I'd be happy. But at 60s, I'd be happy with that, which I think we're kind of there right now. It's just our highs are still getting up there. Let's see. I'm just looking real quick and make sure I hadn't missed anybody. No, looks like we're good. Glock Shooter 79's in the room. Good to see you. GameCuber 7's in here also. Roger Kaiser is in here. Sleepy 1208. Ashley LeComp's in here. Robert Bunton is in here. Paul Pompeli. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce you guys' stuff. Yeah, and Paul Pompeli makes the comments. There's a responsibility for people to respect gun safety, but there's more dumbasses than common sense. I gotta agree with you there, man. A lot. There's a lot of them, man. It's sad to say, but and they think they represent us. That's the sad thing. They think that because they slap their you know, different bumper stickers that scream I'm new to guns, that somehow it's funny. And I'm not, look, if you got a Glock sticker on your truck, I got no problem with it, but it's funny how, you know, you'll see the guys that get their first Glock, their first gun ever, and it's a Glock, and they immediately slap that sticker on the back window as if they're a quote gun guy. Again, not dogging them, because I'm glad we're getting new gun people, but you can almost spot a lot of these people a mile away. Again, if you got a Glock sticker, I had one on mine for a while, but you can kind of tell. I mean, you really can tell. I mean, let's see, Mr. F&H, what method do you use to carry your 509? I'm not sure what you're asking. Do you mean if I have one in the chamber or not? I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. What condition? Let's see here. Oh, I just saw somebody. Where is it? Crap. I wanted to thank somebody. One of you guys in there. I know a lot of you guys already are subscribers, but somebody mentioned in here that they had just subscribed, and I wanted to thank you for it. Crap, man. Where is it? Oh, Hugh says I got to see some of the show last Sunday. I assume you're local if you saw it on Fox 29. Yeah, I'm going to, if you guys know anything about our local politics and all that, you know, it's, politics in general is dirty. It's just dirty. I mean, I'm not a big fan of politics. I've had people ask me why I don't run for politics, and it's because I'm not a scumbag. I don't want to be involved in that. I know that, at least at a higher level, you're expected to do dirty stuff, and I don't want any part to do with that. But I put out a video for our district that we're in, the District 3, down here in South Louisiana, and it covers a good stretch of the Gulf Coast down here. We've got 7 candidates, 4 Democrats, 1 Libertarian, and 2 Republicans who are running, which includes the incumbent is a Republican. And man, I sent them all 10 questions, and they were all Second Amendment questions. And I originally went to their main websites, like their campaign websites. I got their email addresses that their campaigns wanted emails sent to. I sent the 10 questions. I gave them a couple of days to respond. If they didn't respond, I went on their Facebook campaign page and I messaged them there. If they still didn't respond, what I did then was I went to try to find them. Like, most of these guys are active on Facebook on different local community pages and groups, so I would seek them out there. And there was one of them in particular, a Democrat, and you know, we know why the Democrats are dodging me, right? Because I'm asking them questions if they support the Second Amendment, if they think it should be right for us law-abiding Americans to be able to own AR-15s, 30-round magazines. So I'm asking questions that I know their answers to, but they don't want to answer because they want to pick up cheap votes from the stupid people who are going to think, oh, surely they support that. This is Louisiana. Our license plate actually say the Sportsman's Paradise, because this area down here between the fishing and the hunting that we have, I mean, the hunting, we've got every single type of waterfowl down here: deer, bears, mountain lions, even though we don't have mountains. I guess they would be called cougars or panthers down here. You know, every kind of wildlife you could imagine is down here. So it truly is a sportsman's paradise. So most people are pro-gun down here. Well, the Democrats ran from me, and one of them in particular, Verone Thomas, this guy was active on a local page, Facebook page. So I saw him make a post, and I went and commented on his post that, hey, I'm trying to reach out to you. You haven't responded to me. And I mean, just like a big candy ass. This guy, oh, that's so unprofessional that you called me out on Facebook. And I'm thinking, dude, it's more unprofessional that you're ignoring all of my my attempts to try to get in touch with you. I may be pretty unpolished, and I may be pretty rough around the edges, but I'm still freaking media. You don't ignore media. You don't jack with media. I mean, look at all the troubles Trump has right now. It's because the left-wing media doesn't like him. So media kind of always has the last say. And this guy is trying to call me out like I'm unprofessional because he wasn't responding to me. His feelings got hurt. Typical Democrat fashion. His little feelings, his little delicate feelings got hurt, so he pissed and moaned about it. And whenever I told him, I don't remember what I told him, but I responded to him, he let it go after that. But guess what? The 10 questions that I needed answers to, guess who responded to me? He did. So I got my way. I got what I was looking for, and that's the means that I had to use to go through to get it. There's a woman Democrat. I don't even know what I'm supposed to call freaking women anymore. It's like every name you use, girl, female, woman, everything is so damn politically correct now. It's like I don't even know what I'm supposed to, I don't know what the proper name. Oh, that's sexist. You called her a woman. Well, the female. Oh, that's so female. That's the rappers call them females. Tell me what I'm supposed to call the ladies who don't have male genitals. That's what I'm looking for. So one of the women, one of the people who doesn't have male genitals, who's running as a Democrat, she sends me after I send her the 10 questions, she sends me an email back to me, not answering the questions, saying thank you for including me or something like that, and saying you can go to my website and how I feel about the Second Amendment is out there. And she gave me the link to her question or to her website. That was really crappy, because the thing she did at that point is now she's telling me that I can answer to all of my viewers out here based on what I interpret from her website. That's fine. Very dangerous. It would have been better for her to come on and answer my 10 questions and candy coat them with a little cotton candy around them, and at that point kind of giving me the runaround on the answers. But no, she left it up to me to answer her questions. And one of the other jerks, Larry Rader, he's a Democrat. The dude never responded to me. I tried seeking him out on Facebook, everything. I tried doing everything. The dude never responded to me. So I answered as negatively as I could on every single one of his questions. So anyway, questions 1 through 5 played on the Fox affiliate down here on last Sunday. And this coming Sunday, questions 6 through 10 will be played. I got to be honest with you, man. Out of all 7 candidates, none of them are going to be sending me Christmas cards. None of them. The incumbent, Clay Higgins is a little different. I'll just leave it at that. He's a little different. He's a Republican. He doesn't want. We have a coalition of people that we've put together that we're slowly trying to do research to try to figure out, based on like one of my old videos, fatherless homes, bullied kids, and over-medicated kids, how that's the true problem. That's why these kids are shooting up schools. Not because they have access to guns. The mind has to go into that dark place before it's ever going to seek a gun out. In other words, I don't sit here looking at this gun going, I got to figure out a way to kill people with that thing. That's not how it works. You don't sit here assuming because you have access to a gun that you got to figure out how to kill people with it. That's not how honest, law-abiding gun owners react. What happens is your mind goes into a really dark place. You're bullied. All that frustration gets built up. You're over-medicated. You're in a fatherless home. I've got the stats to back all of this up. All this builds up, and then you decide, I want to kill people. Now you start looking for a gun. Now you start looking for it. So the fact that a gun may or may not have been there the whole time has got nothing to do with the decision that you just made to murder people. So anyway, I put together a team of people, and I know that I'm better than a lot of the Democrats out there, because I'm trying to put together a true team of people that can honestly go out there and look at all the things that I'm looking at and not be political about it and say, what is the real problem? You know, trace it all the way back to when things started developing in that mind to make the mind make some kind of a bad decision or evil decision to decide to do something like that. Well, Clay Higgins told me that he was not going to be on my, because the last question was, if you win, will you serve on our team, on our panel? Clay Higgins said he wouldn't, because he said he doesn't belong to any coalitions out there. I call bullcrap, because he's actually on some committees already in Congress. Now, maybe because I'm not a congressperson, I'm not big enough and important enough for you to serve on my team, but the work that I'm doing on my own that's not getting paid for by government dollars is way better and way more important than any team that you're serving on, Clay Higgins, for whatever reason. I promise you that. Look, guys, the people in Washington, D.C., I do not put them on a pedestal. When I see one of them, I call them either Clay or Mr. Higgins. I don't call them congressperson because there's no fancy title for them to call me. And the reason why I don't want to call them a fancy title is because that automatically makes them think that they're more important than I am. They're not. They're honestly not. They put their pants on the same way I do. I think less of people who are in Washington, D.C., not more. I don't think you're higher than me. I think you're below me. If you want to be part of that cesspool in Washington, D.C., that means you're not as good a person as I am. Because I have had opportunities to run for office. I want nothing to do with it. That's a cesspool. That's a slime pit. I don't want any part of that. I don't want to have to look at people and know that I'm lying to them, but I'm lying with a straight face. But they can do that and get by with it, and they're okay with it. So, yeah, I was really aggravated with that. The two Republicans that are on there, I would say Josh Guillory is the other Republican. You know, Josh, I'm not saying that I'm not going to vote for Josh. I just don't know. I want somebody that's a gun guy. I just do, guys. I want somebody that's going to take the fight to everybody in Washington, D.C. I just wish we had somebody out there that was running that was a gun guy. You know what I mean? Somebody that understood the Second Amendment, understood the Federalist Papers, understood what it takes, understood how the Second Amendment got brought to where it is, understood what it took to develop the Second Amendment, understood the reasoning behind the Second Amendment, and why it was written the way it is. Nobody in Washington knows that. I've read the Federalist Papers. I would be willing to bet you any amount of money that out of, 535 people in Congress, Senate and the House, I'll bet you maybe, and I'm probably pushing this, maybe 5 have peeked at the Federalist Papers. I guarantee you nobody's read all of the Federalist Papers. But the Federalist Papers are what was written, and the letters that basically were sent to, I think it was in Boston, to the newspaper over there. Most of these guys were sending these things talking about what they were going to be doing to build the Constitution and write the Constitution. They had the Federalist Papers. Those guys were sending these kind of like editorials to the local newspapers under anonymous names. And they were basically saying, this is the reasoning that we're using, that we're thinking to build the Constitution, to write the Constitution. In fact, it was kind of interesting. Some of the guys would kind of duke it out in the media. Like one week somebody would send, Benjamin Franklin or someone would send like one letter, and one of the guys would disagree with them, and he'd send an opposing letter the following week. Like these guys were duking it out in public. It was really interesting how it was taking place. But the people who are in Congress now, who are responsible for enforcing and making new laws, they sit here and tell you and I how they're true constitutionalists and the Constitution is the law of the land, but most of them have never read the Constitution. And again, I promise you they have not read the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers is the meat to tell you why and how the Constitution was even written. These guys don't know it. My book's not fancy. It's a paperback book. There's nothing fancy about it. And it's hard to read. You know, the way those guys wrote 200-something years ago is not exactly how we write today. Now, they didn't have emojis and all kind of crazy stuff back then, but that old English they used was a little different. You know, it's a little bit difficult to try to decipher sometimes what they're saying. But nevertheless, you can make it out. You understand what they're trying to say. And I mean, those guys don't have a clue, man. It's just, it's frustrating to me because I want so badly to have a guy that knows guns, that knows the history behind everything that's being, even somebody from the gun community that gets out of it and runs for office. I mean, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Anyway, it's just frustrating to me that out of all 7 of those candidates, I'm not excited about any of them. I know I'll vote for Clay Higgins or Josh Guillory. I know that. There's 4 Democrats. I won't vote for any of them. One of them, Rob Anderson, he's running for the wrong party. All of his answers were pro-gun answers, and either he's a really good liar or he's confused and doesn't know what party he's running for, because they were all conservative answers. And I made the comment to him. It may have been on post. You could probably go on the video that we uploaded of those first 5 questions last week. His name's Rob Anderson, or Robert Anderson, and he made the comment something about thanks for the video. And I made a comment to him. Oh, I think he said not that he's not the wrong party or something like that. And I said, well, when you go to Washington D.C., Nancy Pelosi and all those others are not going to let you vote the way you want to on gun control. You're going to vote the way they want. And his response was something like, what do you mean nobody's going to let me vote? I'll vote the way I want. Dude, you got a lot to learn, man. If you're running as a Democrat, and in fact, one of his comments was that he felt like he supported the Second Amendment, and he said the main words of the Second Amendment are shall not be infringed. Dude, that ain't going to fly. Nancy Pelosi will bitch slap you. You will not vote the way you want to if you are a Democrat. You will vote the way they want to, or they will paint you into a corner, ostracize you, and you will never get anything, and you will be out of office faster than your eyes can blink. You won't make a difference. You'll never be allowed on a committee to make a difference. It's politics. So it's a shame, because the guy seems like a good guy. Seems like a guy I could probably go have a beer with. I could probably hang out at the range with. Seems like a good dude, but I won't vote for him, because if he won, he would go there and he would do what Nancy Pelosi told him to do. He absolutely would. So I know that. I know he doesn't know that, but I know that he would. I know that in my heart. I know that. So anyway, I'm frustrated, because I felt like I think some of Josh Guillory's answers were good. You guys, decide on your own. Don't vote for the Democrats. The Libertarian that was running, one of the Libertarians' comments when I asked if I felt like, do you feel like we should harden schools to make our children safer from murderers? And the Libertarian made the comment that he does not think we should harden schools because it would give it more of a prison type feel. And we don't want to subject our kids to that prison environment to make them feel like they're not free. Give me a break. Give me a break. What a candy ass. My response to him in the video was, there's a difference here. One is, I know I'm free. You can put me in a cage, and as long as I can walk out of that cage, I know that I'm free. It doesn't matter what my surroundings look like. I'm a free person, and I know that I'm free. However, if I'm sitting in a school, I don't know that I'm safe. At any moment on a soft school, a gun-free zone, somebody could walk in there and mow us all down. I would rather know that I'm safe and have the appearance that I'm in prison. Because if I'm locked up and you got metal detectors and nobody can get in because they're locked out, the bad guys are locked out, I'm good to go. And you know what? You really want to know the answer? Poll these kids. I'm not talking about an open poll where they raise their hand. Send them an envelope or some kind of way that they can go online and vote to where nobody else is watching. And I promise you, they will all say, I'd much rather have a fortified school with bars and metal and brick, metal detectors, cameras. They would much rather that than know that they have the potential of being murdered because they're in a soft target school zone. I guarantee you the majority of our kids in this country would say, I want to be safe. I don't want to worry about a bullet hitting me because we have We want to be nice. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe, that everybody feels good about themselves, that everybody's happy. I'm happy when I'm safe. I'm happy when I'm not. My life is not being threatened. How about that? So the libertarian kind of blew his chances there. I don't need a touchy feely. I feel good about everything and blah, blah. I don't need that. I really don't need that. So anyway, let's see. I'm looking at y'all's comments here because we got 4 minutes left. Let's see. See if I can grab the tail end of y'all's comments. Yep. As always, you guys are going to town tonight. Zach Briggs says he works at a school like that. Zach, is that a school that's fortified? Is that what you're saying? Subway footlong, that's $5 here. It's $12 in Canada. That's funny. Oh man. Okay, I got you, Zach. I'll bet you know, but there's no school shootings at your school, right, Zach? Zach says he works at a school that's fortified. I bet you nobody's shooting your school up. You know what's funny is they say that that they don't want to make these kids feel like prisoners. Okay, so then tell me this, Democrats. Y'all do have a long history of being racist. Apparently, you guys are okay making black kids feel like they're prisoners. Right? Because they walk through metal detectors in Baltimore, Detroit, some schools in Chicago, Washington, D.C. You guys are making them walk through metal detectors in these high crime areas, and it's all black kids. So apparently you guys are even more racist than Democrats are than I thought, because they have no problem making black people feel like they're in a cage. But they don't want the rich kids down in Parkland, Florida, who live in $600,000 homes. They don't want them to feel like they're in a cage. But the black kid in Baltimore, not a problem. Once again, the Democrats show how racist they are. It's unbelievable how they get away with that and nobody calls them on it. Let's see, guys. I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I got a sick boy downstairs, so I'm not going to be able to hang out much longer with you guys. He's throwing up, and I don't like putting that off on my wife to where she's got to deal with him. So I told her I'd make sure that I was down there promptly after 8 o'clock. Robert Hubbard says, I live in Brookings, South Dakota, and 2 days ago a kid wrote a threatening, hold on, we're scrolling here, wrote a threatening letter, and they locked down the school and called off school the next day. And this is the second kid in the last year been arrested. Wow. Wow. Yeah, good point, Daryl. Daryl McClanahan says it's already a government indoctrination camp. Definitely don't vote Democrat or Libertarian. Check out Laura's Southern debate with Larkin Rose. Libertarians lose. Okay. Yeah, prison is safe, actually. We don't see shootings in prison, right? Let's see. Roger Kaiser, yes. He's asking if I'll leave the chat rolling a bit. I will. I'll let it run. All you'll see is what's behind me here. I'll let it run. In fact, what I'll do is I'll run downstairs, sit with my kid, and I'll try to log on to here and see if I can't chat with you guys. I'll do that. That'll be easier for me to do, and I don't feel like I'm dumping on my wife for doing that. So I'll kill the lights in here. There's one small light that I leave on all the time over here over my workbench. I'll leave it on. Good question, Keith Gregory. Keith asks who the Tigers play tomorrow. The Tigers play Mississippi State tomorrow, and they have some really cool uniforms. There's a lot of history behind it, so I won't go into it. But it's the lost season or the silent season, I forget what they call it, of 1918 that they're celebrating tomorrow, and they have these beautiful looking chrome purple helmets and white shirts with, I think the helmets might even say 1918 across the back of them. Really cool look. It's got the same LSU logo on the side, but it's chrome looking helmet. So gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be neat. Good game. I think it's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, which we have a Halloween party we're going to tomorrow and I'm dressing up as Napoleon Dynamite. So hopefully they got a TV there that I can watch the LSU game on. So guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna grab my phone, and you'll probably see the lights go dim a little bit because I'm gonna walk downstairs. I'm gonna turn these main lights off. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. You know I do. I always say that, but I really do. I mean that when I say it. Let me run downstairs. Let's see real quick. Warsaw Patriot says, just want to tell you we lost a dear friend on YouTube, and he's a retired Air Force veteran. He was also a Forrest dear friend to the crazy Scotsman. God rest his soul. Ed, United States Air Force. We'll say a prayer for you tonight, Ed. And thanks for sharing that, Warsaw Patriot. Guys, I'm running downstairs. I'll be back in just a second. Sleepy says, how can I send you a video link to check out? Let me run downstairs and I'll answer that. We'll see you guys shortly, guys. Later, fellas. You guys have a good evening. We'll see you guys next time.